What up, Darman fam? Here we are, and I'm posting a movie review after a very long time. And thankfully, No Way Home's here, possibly the most anticipated movie of 2021. I'm gonna be brutally honest in this review, and also there are some heavy spoilers ahead. It's probably the only time I'll tell you to click away from my video, but by now, you should click away from the video if you haven't seen the movie. So enjoy the review. To put it at the very least, No Way Home was an emotional roller coaster. Like, not the kind of roller coaster that goes like, whoosh, whoosh. No, it goes like, you know, the wavy thing I'm doing with my hand right here. This is a movie filled with action and a lot of emotional moments in the middle. It brought back all the nostalgic factors that the original Sam Raimi movie had, plus a lot more. To give you a recap of the story, this movie picks up right after Far From Home, where Peter Parker gets his identity revealed to the world as Spider-Man by none other than Mysterio, aka Quentin Beck. Now, this is a jaw-dropping reveal as he goes to Doctor Strange to help him and have everyone forget that he's Spider-Man. But we all know old Pete, he keeps messing up all the spells, and now a whole bunch of villains are back for whatever godforsaken reason. And now we have the likes of Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, we have Sandman, Electro, and the Lizard. You know, that's just a convenient plot device to bring back all our childhood heroes, including Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. There we go. I said it, they're back. It was great! I think something the movie did very, very well was its balance of jokes and dark moments. Like, this was possibly one of the darkest MCU movies and one of the most lighthearted movies. Dark moment happens and then a joke happens. Like, Aunt May just dies. Okay, alright, that was just a little bit. Like, by now you know that we have spoilers, so like, yeah. And then after that, you have Toby in, we have Andrew in. There's a bunch of jokes that they play about Ned having a sling ring. And so anyway, after this all happens, we can safely say that this was one of the best Marvel movies because of that tone. Many critics, they say they don't like Marvel movies because it has too much jokes in it. And a lot of people say they don't like DC movies because it's really, really dark. But this movie does it all really, really well because of all the balance in the movie. I also like the action scenes a lot more in this because usually we see our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man swinging from neighborhood to neighborhood. It's really, really exhilarating, and like, we really want to see it a little bit more dark, right? And so because of the Raimi style cinematography in this movie, you can see a lot of the same fight scenes. It's just like the bloody fight scenes that Tobey Maguire has with Green Goblin 20 years ago. That exact same thing just reenacted in this movie. We can see all the punches being thrown. It's just really, really bloody to say the least. Don't even get me started on the CGI. It was really, 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 really good. I thought I was like, almost high when I saw it happening. Like, it felt like, you know, a mirror pokes out at you, a bunch of Doctor Strange cool magic explosion stuff. Ay, 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 oh god. And like, it just, how do they have the editing effects to even do this? Like, I couldn't do some of that in a year, let alone a few months to make this movie. But for a moment, we need to seriously talk about the villains though, because like, the way they de-aged Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus was like absolutely visually recreating. Like, he looks the same as he did 20 years ago, dude. Like, mind blown. Basically, they have all this star-studded cast back and the villains got new makeovers. Like, look at Electro. He used to be blue and look like something straight out of a Dr. Manhattan project. And now he looks like our comic accurate Electro because here's a strip from the comics to really see how he looks like. And he looks like that in the MCU, but like slightly more advanced. I feel they really, really mixed stuff of live action and comics together in this movie. I think that's what shined through the most in these villains. I think Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin definitely stole the show in terms of his acting performance because he had the ability to act as an innocent and nice scientist, as well as being a psychopath, you know, set out on murdering Peter Parker. That escalated really, really quickly. This movie did a really, really great job of letting Peter Parker have his own standalone movie. A truly standalone movie, because if you look at the first movie, he had to have Tony Stark making him suits and helping him along with the Avengers for every move that he makes. Literally all of his villains were made by Tony Stark. Like, bro, get your own villains. And in the second movie, he had to have Mysterio help him, and then only for him to be backstabbed and have Nick Fury steal the show. Like, come on, why can't you have your own, like, standalone solo adventure? Even in this, he had Doctor Strange help him out. But at the end, we see that he's truly become his own Spider-Man without the help of Avengers. And I think that's what made me really, really happy, because a lot of people say they don't like the first two movies because he's too reliant on other superheroes. Because in a world of crazy mythological gods, mythological monsters capable of crushing your body in half, Tom Holland's Spider-Man truly got redeemed in this movie, whether you liked him or not. I feel that his solo superior portrayal really, really shined through in this movie because of that fact. Now, this isn't to say that the movie didn't have its fair share of flaws. Like any masterpiece, this too is imperfect, and that's in the sense of continuity errors. Like, for example, they see the Green Goblin and Alfred Molina's villains came back in the middle of their battles with Spider-Man, and that's how they're alive, despite them being shown dead in their movies. But then later, when their Spider-Man come back from their universes, they're all aged and stuff. Now, I don't know how that's supposed to work, maybe some continuity error, but I'm going to overlook that. Now, the next thing is Peter's tendency to save the villains. Like, he literally has everything he needs. He has a bunch of villains, he catches them, brings them back, and Doctor Strange has his whole great plot device of a box, and one push of a button and all of them disappear and die. Like, and now you want to save them? Like, I don't get it. How can you trust these villains so much? Like, in the movie, they backstab you, just like they did in every other movie. Like, he learned his lesson with the Vulture, he learned his lesson with number 2, Mysterio, who literally backstabbed him as a hero. So I don't get that part, man. How many times do you have to trust the villains and end up having them backstab you? Like, just, come on. Get some character development. But, you know, after all that, I give this movie a solid 9.8 out of 10. And, you know, it wasn't perfect, but it was a heck of a great Marvel movie, and I encourage anyone to see this right away. I love this movie, and I seriously want you guys to give it a try.